I saw this exchange on CNN and I really wanted to talk about it. They're talking about crime in America and the Democrats are trying to duck and dodge this bag that they have to hold because ultimately they are responsible for the rhetoric and the policies that created this mess. Let's get into it.
I think the main point is that people have lived under his economy. And what is he going to do for Black America, for Latino America? We've seen it. Prices were lower. Housing was affordable. Inflation was low. People were safe. The border was sealed. I can go on and on and on. And all of a sudden, you're asked the question, what does he have now? People have watched what he's done, and now they're looking at Joe Biden and Kamala's economy, and they're saying, we can't survive on this. Our check doesn't go far enough, Abby. Times are tough. The border's open. People, whether you're Latino or you're a Black American, you want a sealed border too. You want to be safe at home. So they've seen that all along. So I think this notion that what's his plan? They've seen his plan and they know it's going to get better.
I hear you a little bit. I mean, I think that when people say that the border is sealed, I look at the fact that he said he was going to build a wall and Mexico was going to pay for it. The wall is not built and Mexico didn't pay for it. If you want to talk about inflation, inflation's actually lower today than it was at any point during Donald Trump's presidency.
People don't feel that way, Bakari.
And that's actually...
Inflation is lower today than it was in Donald Trump's presidency. Let's see, average year on year, YOY, I think that is, inflation rate 1.9 under Trump. Average year over year inflation rate 5.2% under Biden. This is Investopedia.com. I mean, where does Bakari even get this stuff? Like, this is just a quick little Google. But let's continue to listen to the nonsense.
People don't feel that.
You have to make sure that, and that is a very good point. People don't
feel it because it's not true.
Feel that way. And so what people are looking for is not, and this is where Kamala Harris has an advantage over Donald Trump, because what you two want to actually sit here and tell viewers is fine. Let's look at the 4 years. And what voters actually look for is, what do the next 4 years look like? And what do Black Americans think? Because that was a question Abby asked.
Yeah. The last 4 years is going to be indicative of what the next 4 years are going to look like. If they actually cared about Americans, you would actually be looking at the last 4 years and the prior 4 years, because the same guy who ran the prior 4 years is running now, and you would be able to see that there is a difference. You do see it, you just don't care, because the goal is not for Americans or Black Americans or any of that for Black people or Americans to do better. It's to just accomplish your agenda. That's it. Because if you really cared about what the people wanted, you would be acknowledging those things that we want.
And when I talked to Black, I was in Detroit last night with Delroy Lindo and Don Cheadle and Cornelia Smith and Thomas Booker and a few others.
Elites.
But everybody's talking about the fact that he wants to do things like have a national stop and frisk. He said that. I mean, you don't have to nod your head. And then he wants to get rid of him. He wants to make sure that police officers can act with impunity. And have absolute immunity.
We were talking just yesterday, Ryan, about how, in the context of riots, he was saying, let's just bring the military into it to deal with American citizens. I mean, that happened yesterday.
Right, but the post-George Floyd riots resulted in an excess of over 15,000 Black male deaths in this country. How?
Yeah.
The surge of violent crime, it was like Ferguson, the Ferguson effect and the Floyd effect.
Respectfully, you got to explain to me how George Floyd's death.
Yeah.
Because I need causation here.
Yes, because what happens is after the Ferguson.
This is so funny. This is what I really wanted to talk about. It is so interesting how, I forget his name, but the guy, he starts to talk about the issue, and then Bakari's like, wait, stop. You got to tell me. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to tell you what happened, since you clearly don't seem to understand what happened when George Floyd died, okay? Like, just listen. And as a wife, as a mother, as a woman, I am concerned about crime because, I found myself the other day, talking to my daughter, hey, be careful. This is happening. Crime, I don't understand how these people think that crime is not up. But anyway, let's take a listen to what they say. It's actually quite ridiculous.
Ferguson riot and after the Floyd riot, policemen, in fear of their jobs many times and political coverage, pull back from their jobs, resulting in an increased level of
listen, I got to stop you there because hold on.
You can look at the Washington Post.
Ryan, we got to stop you there because you're literally making a connection out of your own conjecture.
No,
you cannot.
It's a real thing. Look up the Ferguson effect. Look up the Floyd effect. It is a real term.
You cannot.
It's a real term. I didn't make this up.
Invent a connection between two things just because you want that connection to be there.
It's a literal, like a name. It's a real thing. You can look it up.
Right. It could be a right thing, but it doesn't mean it's accurate. Yeah.
Let's make them up all the time because we use their points.
Look it up. I'll send you a reading list after the show.
Before we move on, I think there's
Hold on. I just want everyone to settle down because people cannot hear at home when everybody's talking at once, okay? Go ahead.
No, I just think there has to be a level of intellectual honesty. And one of the things we can talk about here when we talk about Donald Trump is he's actually somebody who never spoke out about George Floyd's death. And for me, it's kind of personal because as a black man, when you have someone with a knee on their neck for 9 minutes and some change and you're actually calling out for your mother while you're being suffocated on national TV and you are a parent and a son and a brother, that goes a long way. The kind of
don't get it, and I'm honestly quite sick and tired of this idea being thrown around. What the freak does it matter that we happen to share the same skin hue as if your life is the same as mine? So Bakari, are you willing to sit here and tell me that you and George Floyd have led the same exact lives? Because you can clearly identify him just by merely being of the same hue. So you lived a life close and similar to George Floyd. Because if you did, I got questions, and we might need to dig a little bit more into your background since you have just such a tie to George Floyd. This is nonsense that because you happen to have the same melanin levels that we are somehow connected. We are somehow, I'm supposed to be able to relate to you. That is the problem with just grouping everybody into these groups. Oh, you're the police, so then you're bad. Oh, you're black, so you're oppressed. Oh, you're white, so you're bad. Like, this is stupid. You don't give people the individuality to exist within their own decisions, within their own beliefs, within their own life journeys. Everything is just lumped into one thing. Oh, if you just label it and that's what you get. How the freak is Bakari Sellers and George Floyd? What do they have in common? Please tell me. This is nonsense.
Disingenuity or dishonesty for me is you cannot say that what happened during that time period is to blame for the deaths of other black men due to violence or what have you.
100% happened.
But
this man is smoking crack. It is a fact that when George Floyd died, the riots that took place after his death caused other black people to die because they were rioting in black neighborhoods and the police pulled back. That is a fact. It's not even the only time that it's happened. That is why there have been calls to, from the citizens to say, we need help down here, like, make this stop. That is not, I don't understand. People act like they can just go and terrorize somebody's neighborhood and do whatever they do with no consequences. There are consequences to your actions. And because these people went and rioted in these neighborhoods, the police pulled back, there was going to be violence. They literally were burning down people's businesses. They were literally committing crime. People died. And for Bakari and Abby and everybody up here who doesn't want to acknowledge that, you don't really care about the black people that you act like you do. Because they lost their life. And you won't even acknowledge it. You're pathetic and disgusting.
But that literally, and my point to you is that makes absolutely no sense. And I would argue to you as somebody that I'm not coming from a perspective where I want fewer police. I don't. I want police actually to be paid more. I just want better police, more qualified police. I want there to be a database where police, if they commit bad acts, they can't just go from one department to another. That's criminal justice reform.
Okay.
But George Floyd didn't cause 15,000.
And here, before you jump in, I mean, we should know that you're talking about things that happened when Donald Trump was president.
Right.
He was the president.
But
so how is he not responsible for it?
Well, the president doesn't control local police departments.
Well, okay, but you're trying to blame crime on Joe Biden.
No, I
but
didn't
you don't blame.
Okay,
Republicans have blamed crime on Joe Biden, but you cannot. But you're saying that people who died when Donald Trump was president, that's not his fault.
I don't.
Jesus help me. Look, girl. The reason why you can blame Joe Biden for crime is because his policies and rhetoric are those that have incentivized people to commit crime. When you have policies, and not just Joe Biden, but Democrat policies, because how the Democrats work is just empty suits. It's only the agenda. So all of these Democrat mayors, these Democrat politicians that have been on the defunding the police, which Kamala Harris was a fan of, was a supporter of, even helping to fund people who were put in prison to get them out of jail. When that rhetoric and those policies begin to get implemented, police pull back and crime increase because the criminals know that there are no consequences for their actions. That's why you can blame Joe Biden. Trump was in office when these things were going on, and Republicans wanted him to do more because it was so out of control and widespread all over the country. But if he would have did that, then y'all would have called him a dictator. Now he didn't go as far as he would. There were suggestions and calls to maybe call in the National Guard. Y'all would have had an absolute fit. I believe that he should have done that. So there could have been a maintaining of lives, saving people's lives. This is so crazy to listen to these people. It's like they play in your face and they have no regard. Like they act like you can't read. They act like you don't exist. Like they can just talk and say these things and you're not living a real life. But it's these people, these elite people, who they are the ones that are in these protected communities and stuff where they don't experience what is happening to real people. It's crazy. This is insanity.
I don't agree with either blame being assigned to either president. I think presidents don't have a magic wand and they don't control crime from the White House.
Right.
But if you're going to say that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are responsible for a rise in crime,
I didn't say that, though.
Don't you have to be
intellectual? All I will say is, like, we're talking about what the future is for Black Americans. And what I will say is that Kamala Harris supports the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act, which, again, I have no idea what you're talking about in terms of connection. I will read it.
Okay.
And then I will fact check the sources that actually wrote the thing. But that's what we're talking about for a plan for Black America, is how we make public safety something so that everyone, Black, white, brown, can live in safe communities. That's not what Donald Trump wants. Donald Trump, again, doesn't want a better border, because if he could have had a better border under this president by supporting a bill, and he didn't want to do it.
That's not true at all.
The idea that you can blame Donald Trump for not wanting to secure the border after that has been like the champion thing that he has been talking about for the last 10 years, dang on near, is absurd. And the fact that you don't know about the Ferguson effect, it speaks volumes. Madam, I don't know who this person is, but this is a thing and it is actually happening. And as a woman, as a wife, it is very, as a mother who has a teenage daughter who is driving, who is, living her life, it is very concerning that all of these people are pouring into the country and committing crime. On top of all of that, it comes out now. Remember, they were trying to tell us that, the FBI just came out with this statistics that crime is down under Joe Biden. But the FBI has been cooking the books once again. It says, GOP lawmakers slam FBI for quietly updating violent crime stats. Blatant manipulation. Congressional Republicans voiced outrage Wednesday over the FBI quietly updating its violent crime statistics. The FBI previously said violent crime decreased by an estimated 1.7% from 2021 to 2022. Data summaries show 1,253,716 violent crimes were reported in 2021, while 1,232,428 were reported in 2022. However, the agency updated the data summary now reports 1,000,000.1 violent crimes in 2021. Blah, blah, blah. The figures represent a 4.9% increase as opposed to the 1% drop. So there was actually a almost 5% increase, but they reported a 1% drop. And you want to trust these people? You want to trust these people? House and Senate Republicans expressed on social media the need for accurate data. This is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. It's probably the same thing that's happening with this inflation stuff. Oh, inflation is actually down. Like how? Where? How? But this is particularly disturbing for me as, like I said, wife, mother, and a woman who's, going out and about her day, where we have politicians who are implementing policies that put our lives in danger. Your head is like constantly on a swivel because it's wild out here in these streets. And these people do not care. Even at the debate, this report says ABC News anchor David Muir noted during the September 10th debate between former President Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris that the FBI said overall violent crime is decreasing, even though Donald Trump was telling the truth. Donald Trump, once again, was telling the truth, and these people are lying to you. It's just crazy how they will lie straight to your face with a straight face and act like you're the problem. I am so done with this. If you care about your wife and your children, you're going to need to protect them. So thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you think about this exchange here on CNN. As you can see, I am thoroughly disgusted and I am so fed up with these lies that they continue to tell. But that's my thoughts. I want to know what you think. Don't forget to like, comment, and share this video. And subscribe, of course. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.